Welcome back to another edition of Halloween Hidden Gems, the mini limited series where we try to find movies that aren't incredibly mainstream. Movies that I feel like anytime I bring them up to people, they're always like, I've never seen that. So I'm trying to highlight some stuff, and if people are out there and they're looking for maybe something new to try this October and Halloween season, this week, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time is It Follows.
Wherever you are, it's somewhere walking straight for you. All you can do is pass it along to someone else.
It Follows is a 2014 horror thriller movie that has an incredibly simple premise. It is about a teenage girl, or maybe like early 20s, certainly like I would say college age girl who has sex with a guy after the first date. And then he ties her up to a chair and he informs her that by sleeping with him, she has now become the prime target of this entity, this thing, which is a shape-shifting presence that is now focused solely on her, and the thing, the it, if you will, is just constantly walking towards her at all times, and if it gets you, it kills you. It's just so simple and so effective because like the rules of the thing are straightforward. It's going to continuously walk in the attempt to try to catch up to you and then kill you. But the movie does a nice job of not really explaining much beyond that. Can you kill it? What is it? They do explain how you pass it on, and you can pass it on by having sex with other people. Once the person who is what do you want to call it? Basically, like the target, the prey, that person just needs to then have sex with someone, and then that person becomes the target.
If it kills her, it gets me and goes straight down the line to whoever started it.
If you pass it on, and then that new person gets caught and killed, it just goes back chronologically down the list. So if I had slept with someone else, just one person, and that person gets killed, it's going to revert its attention to me again. And there's just something like incredibly terrifying about an enemy, a monster that can take on the appearance of any person, whether it's a family member, it's a stranger, someone you've seen on TV, whatever. And this thing is always walking towards you. It never stops walking towards you. The film just has this constant state of tension. From like a direction and a cinematography point of view, it utilizes wide shots, slow pans very effectively because it wants the audience to have that time to really scan and study the environment that the main characters are in. And so throughout the film, we follow main character. Her name is Jay. She is the girl that has sex with the guy in the beginning of the movie. And so for the majority of the film, she is the prime target of the it. And she's accompanied by her little group of friends. So the movie has like this inherent like Stephen King-ish vibe. At least it does for me, because you have like this group of, they're not kids, right? These are, as I said, I think they're supposed to be like fresh out of high school, in like freshman year of college, or maybe some of them are still in like senior year of high school. But it just has that vibe of like, you know, kids kind of on their own. There's hardly any mention of like their parents or like seeing their parents. It's just solely focused on them, and they just go about this this nightmare of an adventure with like no interference from like law enforcement or like formal adult presence or intervention. The other thing that I like a lot about this movie is that it's like its time frame that it's set in is very ambiguous, where I feel like sometimes you're looking and you're seeing cars that feel like they're from like the 70s, and then there's like television, there's shots where like a TV's on in the background and it's something that was like on TV in the 80s, and then there's a character, this girl who has like this I don't even know what the hell it is. It's like a digital little clamshell that opens up, and she's like able to like read like a book on it, like some stuff like that, where I'm just like, I don't even know if that's even an actual product that was ever released. But lots of things that just keep you disoriented. It's like, well, what year is this? When is this taking place?
It's not what she thinks, okay?
You don't believe me. Mom?
No, it's me.
Everything's okay.
The score that was done by an artist known as Disasterpiece, who he's done a lot of video game soundtracks in his career, most notably Fez and Hyper Light Drifter. The soundtrack to this movie, for me, it is on par as iconic as John Carpenter's Halloween. It's all synthy. It's a lot of like bit crushy kind of sounds, very melody driven. It's so fucking awesome.
I used to daydream about being old enough to go on dates. I had this image of myself holding hands with a really cute guy, driving along some pretty road. It's never about going anywhere, really. Just having some sort of freedom, I guess.
The movie could have sucked, and the soundtrack alone would have made it enjoyable. Especially, I saw this in theaters when it came out, so you get to experience that full sound in a theater. It's beautiful. But yeah, the power of this movie is just, it's the simplicity and it's the dread of, again, those wide shots, those pans where we have like our main character Jay, and she's sitting in class, a little tip to Halloween. We can see her and she's looking out the window during class, and there's just this creepy ass old woman in like a hospital gown just slowly walking. And you see all these other people going about their lives, their day-to-day lives, moving around, they're commuting to work, etc. And then just the one old woman just cutting through all of these people because no one else can see it. Only the target can see the it. And it's just this old woman slowly walking. And she starts getting nervous, and she like packs up her shit and she leaves the classroom. And then as she pulls out into the hallway, we're tracking her. She's moving towards us. And then in the background, you see the old woman coming down the hallway of the school. And it's like that hair-raising, goosebumpy kind of dread. Something just incredibly unsettling, at least for me. Again, the idea that this thing is constantly pursuing you. How do you go to bed? How do you get sleep knowing that this thing is just moving towards you? I don't want to get into anything deeper in terms of like its messaging. Obviously, there's the messaging of like, don't have unprotected sex with strangers. That's how you get things like this demonic entity chasing you down. But it's short, it's very simple, it's effective. I like the ending, and the ending kind of reinforces this idea of like, I keep saying kids, they are, you're still a kid when you're freshman year of college. These kids, and they're trying to figure out how do we beat this thing? How can we kill it? Can we trap it? And it has this like wonderful just build up towards this moment where it felt like the ending is like this big, showdown, and it felt very like almost Home Alone-y, where they're preparing all these like makeshift traps, and they're trying to like set up inside of this big abandoned it's like not a YMCA, but it's like a big indoor pool in this abandoned building. I think the whole film is shot in Detroit, so there's lots of footage of some of the rundown portions of Detroit and some of the suburbs, I guess, outside of the actual city. Everything's very decayed. There's this nostalgic feeling. A lot of the film takes place in the suburbs that these kids live in, so there's some great familiarity there in visualizing this environment that for someone like myself who grew up in the suburbs, you know, you just equate that look and that feel with comfort and with safety, right? Like nothing weird is going to happen here. And there's some really effective scenes at nighttime where characters are looking out the windows, and like just across the street in your little comfy suburb, you just see, you know, a person walking through the darkness of the backyard. They enter the light of the house's like front porch, and they're just moving across the street towards your house, and you know that they're coming to get into your house. Of all these movies I've recommended for Halloween hidden gems, I think this one is right up there with Return of the Living Dead in terms of my love for the movie. It Follows is freaking awesome. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. Speaking of watching, if you've watched this video, as always, I appreciate you very much. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.